How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. This is a very well-known quote by Annie Dillard. Maybe you've heard it. Maybe you've heard it so many times you're tired of it. Maybe you've heard it so many times it seems trite. And yet, every time I hear it, I'm reminded of the powerful truth behind it. And there's something that I want to capture in those words by Annie Dillard. There's something within them that to me echoes with the concept of mindfulness or mindful living. And in this video, that's what I want to talk a little bit more about. What is mindful living? What is mindfulness? This video really serves as an intro to maybe not my channel, but maybe to this season of my channel. This is a relatively new YouTube channel. I only have a handful of videos that are publicly available right now, but all of them move toward a certain theme or a certain topic that I really hope to wrap all of my videos around, at least in this first season. And when I say season, I don't mean like a TV show season so much as in this season of me making videos in this season of my life. This is what I am passionate about talking about and what I hope I can share with you. So all that to say, this season of my life, this channel is focused at this time on practical wisdom for mindful living. And so I want to introduce you to what that little phrase means to me and how I'm using it as a guide for the kind of things that I want to say on here. Now, mindful living, that's where I'm going to start. Mindful living is maybe a little bit more similar way of saying, or a little simpler way, I guess I should say, of saying living with mindfulness. Mindfulness is a phrase that I've heard, or a word rather, that I've heard so many times and always been intrigued by. You know, I want to live with mindfulness. I think at first when I was introduced to the word however many years ago, I thought mindfulness was more like meditation. It was more like this thing you removed yourself to experience from day-to-day life. And I've come to understand now that mindfulness is much more a posture. It's much more a practice you try to incorporate in the day-to-day of your life. Thus, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. My definition of mindfulness, and again, there might be some pushback on this. Some people might understand it differently. It is such a big, broad topic. So I want to give you what my definition is and how I approach it for the kind of things that I hope to say here on YouTube. My understanding of mindfulness or mindful living is simply this: living with an awareness of how you are living. Meaning, of course we're living, of course we're going through the day-to-day of our life and things are happening to us and we're making things happen and all that kind of stuff. That's how we are living, but mindful living is living with an awareness of how you are living. It means being somewhat attentive. It means there's a level of self-awareness to it. There's a level of reflection that comes to it. It means that you are generally being attentive to the things that are happening to you and how you're responding to them. You're generally being attentive to what are the things that you want to put your energy toward, put your life toward. What are the things that make your life meaningful? And you pay your mind to those. You pay attention to those. You attend to your life. You attend your life. That's what paying attention is. Well, maybe one of the most simple ways that I could say what I think of when I think of mindful living is making space to understand yourself and making space to understand how you are living. Making space to understand the choices you are making. I can look over here on this wall opposite me and I see 3 bags on that wall. And I see my bigger backpack that's I think about 25 liters. I don't use it all that often, but it fits my laptop. And if I need to bring more with me sometime when I'm on an outing, or I've used it even for a short, couple day trip and only brought that, there's that. And I also see over there 2 different slings. One is a sling that just goes over my shoulder. One of them is a little bit larger and I can fit a laptop in it. And that's the one I use the most when I'm getting out for a few hours to work in a coffee shop, or maybe I have to, no, that's really when I use it. I go work in coffee shops often. And then I have another sling over there that's even a little bit smaller and it can fit an iPad. And if I just need a little bit smaller something or other to carry with me, I can also put my camera in that one if I want to have a camera outing. this is not a video about slings and backpacks. And I just went on way too long about that because that's part of the problem that I'm trying to address here, which is I really like slings and backpacks. I would love to have more of them. And I don't. Well, we haven't gotten into the ones I use for hiking or travel. But for my day-to-day, those are the ones that I use. And the thing is, though, as much as I like those, and they all work really, really well, and they're good quality, all of that, but I just always want a different one. I have a thing for bags, and so often one will catch my eye. YouTube seems to really like to throw videos about bags at me. And so often I will see one and I will just think, I want that. And then I will go down the rabbit hole and I'll start exploring and I'll learn all about it and I'll start to understand and figure out, well, why is this one better than the one I have? And I'm kind of spending a lot of time talking about bags, and that's not what this video is about. Now, where mindfulness comes into this long riff I've made about bags, where mindfulness works in is we don't just ask the question, why do I need this bag? We take a step further back and we ask the question, why do I think I need this bag? Why do I think I have to have another sling? Why do I think I need to have another backpack that looks fancier or looks more simple or whatever it might be? And that's where we start to pay attention to what is some sort of deeper desire, deeper longing that we're trying to perhaps fulfill with a bag. How do I hope that this is going to make my life more meaningful? How do I hope that this is going to somehow fulfill me? How is this going to touch into some point of pain in my life or some point of emptiness I'm apparently feeling or some kind of sadness? We begin to reflect on the experience we're having of needing a bag, and we say, why is it that I think I need that bag? So I've already spent honestly more time talking about this than I intended to. Certainly talking more about bags, but even about the idea of mindful living, because I just wanted to introduce that idea. It is living with an awareness of how we are living. And so on this channel, I want to bring mindful living often to the forefront of the things I want to talk about and have you know what it looks like for you to live and reflect maybe on how you might be able to live with more mindfulness. But that brings me back to the first part of the subtitle of this season of this channel, which is practical wisdom for mindful living. See, the point of this channel is not just to throw something out for you to have some kind of aspirational living about, oh, I want to be a person who lives mindfully. I want you to want to be a person who lives mindfully, but I also want to offer you practical wisdom. I love the word wisdom. I love the concept of wisdom, but it is not easy to come by. And quite honestly, wisdom is not a real popular word in our culture, certainly where I live in the United States. I feel like wisdom is not considered, it's not pursued, it's not weighed. Information is, productivity is, and such things, but entertainment is. But wisdom's not something we seem to value much anymore. And I think it's because it's daunting. I think it's because it feels like it takes effort and it takes work, and it does. And so I want to offer what I hope could be practical wisdom, meaning not just practical ideas, but things that have been worked through, things that have proven their mettle, but at the same time practical. So they're tangible. They're something that you can grab a hold of. So there might be times where I just talk about some kind of habit or practice that you might want to consider in your life. But sometimes I will talk about real practical, honestly, even tools. I'm a nerd. I like the technology that I get to put into said bags. I like to use great apps. I like to use great tools that can actually be beneficial, but at the same time to also temper my use of them so that they are a tool that serves a purpose rather than just something I become obsessed with. So I will talk about some of that. I'll probably even talk about some of these bags that I have that I like, because they're useful for going out on a streamlined day away or something like that here or there. So there will be practical wisdom, and I hope not only will you be inspired or at least maybe desire to live with mindfulness, to have a posture of mindful living, but I hope you can walk away from each of these videos with something to consider, something to implement, something to weigh versus what you're already doing, and decide, no, my way is better, and keep doing things your way. Or maybe take a little bit of something that I have to say and incorporate it. But above all, I hope I can help you with some practical wisdom for mindful living. My name is John Chandler, and I spend most of my day as a website developer, and that's what I consider to be my day job. I do it freelance, I contract with people, and the beautiful thing about that is it gives me a lot of flexibility to incorporate habits and incorporate mindful living in other ways. But beyond that, I don't want to be a website developer for the rest of my life. I want to do this. I want to share thoughts on how to live with mindfulness. My goal is not to be a full-time YouTuber. That's not what I mean. This is just one avenue, one medium. But above all, I also work professionally as a spiritual director. And there's a handful of people I meet with once a month where we just sit down and they share something that's going on in their life, and we explore what that might mean for them spiritually. Now, this channel, as I intend to approach it, really isn't going to have much of that kind of thing. There will certainly be undertones of that background that I have that will come through, but I intend it to be much broader in its appeal, but in that same vein of helping you to explore and understand yourself, and helping you to explore and understand how you spend your days, so of course you can understand how to spend your life. I hope you will be intrigued by this. I hope that it will be interesting to you. I hope that you will come along for the ride. Please leave comments below, leave questions below, and of course I would love it if you would subscribe. Thanks for watching.